This here is Epic the Musical Portrayed by Minecraft. Troy Saga. We meet Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, and for 10 years him and his 600 men have been away from home fighting in Troy. They hide in a wooden horse, kill some people, then Zeus is like, hey, if you don't kill that baby boy, he's gonna grow up and murk your entire family. Odysseus is like, arnar, but decides to eat the baby off the wall anyways. We then meet Eurylochus, his right-hand man, and Polites, his best friend. Odysseus and Polites go to this Lotus Eaters island, and the little Winyan creatures try to give them food. Polites talks about how life is great and not to be so harsh all the time. But then Athena, the goddess of wisdom, is like, no, I taught you to be better than this, Odysseus. You gotta kill. Cyclops Saga. They go to this cave to kill some sheep, then BAM! Cyclops, and he is mad because they just killed his pet. Odysseus offers him some wine and is like, yeah, I'm nobody, don't even worry about it, just don't kill us. The Cyclops doesn't listen and just starts attacking and killing everybody, including our little Polites. Turned him into a pancake. Anyways, there was Lotus in the wine, so the Cyclops passes out. Odysseus and his men band together to stab the Cyclops in the eye. So much for open arms, I guess. Anyways, some more Cyclops show up and search for what's wrong, but in the end, they find nobody. Get it? Because that's what Odysseus said his name. Whatever. Athena tells Odysseus, hey bud, that's not enough. Gotta do more killy. So Odysseus grabs his sword and doesn't use it. Instead, he taunts the Cyclops like, haha, I blinded you. My name is Odysseus. I live in Ithaca, but like, you'll never know where to find me. Athena leaves Odysseus after this. Ocean Saga. There's this giant storm, so they find a floating island and harpoon onto it all cool and use it as a reverse anchor to, not die in the storm. Aeolus, the wind god, is like, hey man, you want to get home? Bet. I'll put the storm wind in this bag, just don't open it. Then the stupid Windians tell his crew, hey, guess what? There's treasure inside. So Odysseus stays awake for 9 days straight, and eventually they're so close to making it home, then BAM! The wind bag gets open. Giant storm comes back, then BAM again, because Poseidon shows up. He has beef with Odysseus because the Cyclops was his son. He seems less mad about that though, and more mad Odysseus wasn't ruthless enough to just kill his son. So to make up for that, Poseidon decides to be ruthless and kill 557 of Odysseus's men. 557! And right before Poseidon finishes the final 43 off, Odysseus goes shing and cuts open the windbag so they can escape in the storm. Circe Saga. They end up on this island where some of his men get turned into pigs by this hot witch named Circe. Odysseus, though, has already lost too many men, so he goes to confront her. On the way there, the messenger god Hermes comes out of nowhere like, hey, if you want to fight her, take this route, they'll give you magical powers for a short time. Odysseus confronts Circe like, hey, that wasn't cool what you did. Then Circe is like, oh yeah? Well, you can't beat me. Then Odysseus is like, double oh yeah? Well, I got this route from Hermes. So they fight and summon different beasts, then eventually Odysseus wins. Circe has officially lost. So what does she do? She tries to seduce him. It doesn't work though because Odysseus is a loyal man. Instead, he trauma dumps on her like, hey, I've been away from my wife for 12 years, Poseidon trying to kill me. What do I do? She releases him and his men and sends them to the underworld to meet a prophet that can help them. Underworld Saga. They go to the underworld, but before seeing the prophet, they see all the dead crew members, including Polites. Then Odysseus sees his mom, realizing he took too long to get back, so she died. After all that though, he finds the prophet. He explains to Odysseus he sees all these bad things happening and that he doesn't make it back home. Instead, it's this scary monster that kills everybody. So what does Odysseus do? He becomes the monster rah rah rah. He's now ruthless. Thunder Saga. A siren disguises herself as Penelope trying to seduce Odysseus into the water, but BAM! Poseidon just starts chopping them up like sushi because he is the monster rah 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 now. But he learned from the siren that the only way back home is through the lair of Scylla, who's this big beast with 6 heads coming off her. So they go through and Odysseus feels guilty for the things he's about to do. But then Eurylochus says he opened the windbag, so all that guilt goes away. Odysseus lights 6 torches and uses them as signals to Scylla like, hey, eat these men, not me please. Eurylochus is mad by this, so when they got out of the cave, they just start fighting. Eventually, Odysseus looks like he's about to win, but BAM! He gets stabbed and they tie him up. He wakes up on an island where his crew, mainly Eurylochus, wants to kill this cow because they're so hungry. Odysseus is like, hey, that's the sun god's pet, so maybe not. Eurylochus proceeds to still kill the cow and doom them all. They try rowing, but then BAM! Zeus comes in to give Odysseus a choice. Either he dies or his crew dies. But all Odysseus hears is see your wife or don't see your wife, so he lets them all get smited. Wisdom Saga. 7 years later, his son Telemachus is explained like, I miss my dad a lot. I want to be cool like him. There's a bunch of angry suitors trying to get with my mom. The worst suitor of them all, though, Antinous. He even fights Telemachus until BAM! Athena is in his mind, giving him tips and tricks on how to win. He loses, but hey, new best friend. Athena trauma dumps about how her old best friend went down a different path than her, so they broke up like Jonas Brothers. So she decides to look for him. She dives through time looking at all the previous events until BAM! There he is, washed up on an island. This goddess named Calypso wakes him up like, "Oi, you're mine now, so get comfy." He's been stuck here for the past 7 years. He even almost ends it all too. Athena is like, "No, he can't die. If the Jonas Brothers can get back together, so can we." She asks Zeus like, "Hey, can you release him?" So Zeus tells her if she gets approval from a bunch of gods and goddesses, then sure. She convinces Apollo, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Ares, and Hera. Zeus though gets mad at this because, you know, he's Zeus. So he smites her. Vengeance saga. But Athena's efforts worked because Calypso tells Odysseus, "Hey, you're free, I guess. Bye-bye. I miss you." Odysseus is rowing his little raft, just being all sad. But then, BAM! Hermes comes in out of nowhere as a comedic relief to guide Odysseus home. He even gives him the windbag back. But he warns him if he opens it, he will not get home. Then, BAM! This giant sea monster thing named Charybdis comes out of nowhere, but Odysseus gets past it with ease. He sees Ithaca. After 20 years, he sees it. But then Poseidon shows up for vengeance. He pushes Odysseus to the depths of the ocean while he imagines all his dead loved ones dragging him down. Odysseus breathes his final breath and dies. Boy, the monster inside of him awakens, so he opens up that windbag and uses it as a jetpack, because I don't know, to be honest. They fight and Poseidon actually loses. Or did he? Odysseus opened the windbag, so that storm made by Poseidon will not let him get home. So Odysseus uses Poseidon's own trident against him. Yes, Odysseus tortures the god that killed 500 of his men. Poseidon eventually calls off the storm. Ithaca saga. Penelope sets up a challenge that whoever can string Odysseus's old bow will be the new king. Obviously, it's impossible, so the suitors get mad. Antinous takes charge and says they have to kill the prince and essay Penelope? Yeah. But it's okay though, because Odysseus quickly shuts that down by shooting him in the throat. Yes, he strung the bow. After that, he just goes crazy and kills all the suitors. Out of nowhere, BAM! Telemachus shows up, so the suitors just straight up jump him. But our little prince has been training, so he 1v20s. Eventually, he gets caught, but it's okay, because BAM! Odysseus comes out of nowhere and just goes full psycho and beheads all the suitors. After that, Odysseus and Telemachus have this cute little reunion. Then who comes back? Athena. She somehow lived the smiting, but her attitude changes because she now sees the world is cruel, and she wants everybody to also have open arms. That's 2 out of 3 reunions done. The big one, though, is Penelope. When she first sees him, she questions if it's actually him. He says he's not the same, and now he's the monster, rah rah rah. She's like, "I don't care. You're still my husband." They hug, cry, it's all cute. The end. Comment down below how many times I said BAM in this. And shout out to Jorge Rivera Herons for making the best musical ever. Anyways, if you like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all of your post notifications. And peace!